One of the most powerful women in U.S. political history is calling it a career on Capitol Hill. Today, Congresswoman Nancy Pelosi announced she will not seek re-election next November. Pelosi has represented San Francisco in the House for 20 terms, stretching across nearly 4 decades. And this morning, she released a message tailored to the city by the Bay.
There has been no greater honor for me than to stand on the House floor and say, I speak for the people of San Francisco. I have truly loved serving as your voice in Congress, and I've always honored the song of St. Francis. Lord, make me an instrument of thy peace, the anthem of our city.
A Baltimore native and daughter of a former congressman, Pelosi first won her seat in Congress in a special election in 1987. At the time, she was a prominent Democratic fundraiser who had never held public office. 2 decades later, in 2007, she made U.S. political history when she became the first woman ever elected Speaker of the House of Representatives. She held the title for a total of 8 years over 2 separate stints. And in 2010, under President Obama, she led the push to pass what became the defining legislation of her speakership, the Affordable Care Act. The controversial health care reform passed despite opposition from many inside her own party. And whether or not you agreed with her politics, Pelosi built a reputation as a congresswoman who got stuff done for San Francisco, and her fingerprints are all over the city. Our Lauren Toms joins us live from the Embarcadero now with a look at Pelosi's impact in her adopted hometown. Lauren.
Yeah, Juliet, the retirement of Speaker Emerita Nancy Pelosi marks the end of a hugely historic era of political leadership, not just in Washington or even here in San Francisco, but for the Democratic Party. Now, messages of gratitude have been pouring in all day from national and local leaders. As one former mayor tells me, it'll take a generation to replicate the work of Nancy Pelosi.
A large part of the reason I'm still here is the extraordinary work of Nancy Pelosi.
Jeff Sheehy says he didn't think he'd live past 40. The first San Francisco supervisor openly living with HIV, he says his survival is forever linked to one woman who adopted San Francisco as her own and took his fight to Washington.
When I was first diagnosed in '97, I didn't have insurance. The medications had come in, and I wouldn't have been able to get to them except Nancy Pelosi had played such an instrumental role in getting these key pieces of legislation.
It was first-term Congresswoman Nancy Pelosi who in 1987 made her first appearance on the House floor advocating for resources amid the AIDS epidemic in San Francisco.
That it was quite scandalous to do that. They're like, this is what you want to be known for? This is how you want to introduce yourself to Congress?
Also the gentlelady from California.
That speech set the tone for a career defined by crisis and comeback.
There will be about 14 disaster assistance centers set up in the afflicted area, entirety of Greater Bay Area, Northern California.
After the Loma Prieta earthquake in '89, she secured federal funding to rebuild the city. And in 2007, she broke barriers, becoming the first female Speaker of the House.
It's an historic moment for the Congress. It's an historic moment for the women of America.
3 years later, she was hailed for her work in passing the Affordable Care Act, securing health insurance for millions, including Jeff. Throughout her career, Pelosi made it a priority to deliver for San Francisco. She oversaw the transformation of the Presidio from a military base to a national park, establishing the Presidio Trust in 1996 to keep it self-sustaining, and later helping secure millions of dollars for maintenance.
There is no way for anybody to do anything except sing her praises.
Former Mayor Willie Brown says it's not just San Francisco that will lose a champion when Pelosi retires, but also the Democratic Party.
We San Franciscans lose a lot of influence and power that we had, and I think the Democratic Party is harmed by Nancy not being there.
San Francisco resident Cindy Redburn says that vacancy will be felt amid the political divisiveness.
I think she's done her duty above and beyond. I think we'll miss her in the Congress. We'll miss her feistiness and her ability the poker finger in Trump's eye.
And as Jeff walks through the AIDS Memorial Grove that Pelosi helped make a national monument, he says her legacy will not only be measured by laws, but by the lives like his that have been changed by her fight.
But this amazing life that I have, I owe a great deal of it to Speaker Emerita Nancy Pelosi.
Now, her work isn't over just yet. Pelosi has just over a year left on the job, and in that time, we can expect her to take a victory lap, celebrating what will be 40 years of congressional service and legislative wins, both in Washington and right here in San Francisco. Juliet?
Absolutely. Lauren Toms. Lauren, thank you so much. Now, Pelosi had no shortage of detractors during her career. Her second stint as House Speaker was marked mainly by her opposition to President Trump. She infamously tore up her copy of his State of the Union address soon as he finished speaking. And today, Trump made it very clear what he thinks of Pelosi.
I thought she was an evil woman who did a poor job, who cost the country a lot in damages and in reputation. I thought she was terrible. Thank you very much.
Trump added he thinks Pelosi is doing the country a tremendous service by retiring. Now, Pelosi's district is up for grabs next November, whether or not she planned on retiring. But today's announcement really changed the outlook of the race. So far, only 2 candidates have joined the fray. They both launched campaigns long before this morning's news. Kelsi Thorud spoke with the 2 candidates hoping to fill that seat to get their thoughts on the future of the district. Kelsi.
Hey, Julia. Yeah, whoever wins Nancy Pelosi's seat next November will have a lot of pressure on them. People here in San Francisco expect a lot from their representative after having Nancy Pelosi for decades. And as you said, I was able to talk with 2 of the candidates who are already in the race. For the first time in 40 years, San Francisco will have a new representative in Congress after Election Day 2026. And whoever succeeds Nancy Pelosi knows they'll have some big shoes to fill.
San Franciscans set the bar very, very high. And you need to have a moral compass and core values. You need to have a backbone of steel. And you need to know how to get things done.
You know, when she first went into Congress, she was this fearless voice that was fighting to get help for the AIDS epidemic that was devastating the city at that time. And because she was fearless, because she spoke out and she fought, we got money and we got help, and she actually did a lot for that. And, you know, what I sort of feel right now, when I look at the country right now, I think San Francisco needs that again.
State Senator Scott Wiener and Shoykot Chakrabarty, a former tech executive and chief of staff to Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, have thrown their hats in the ring. Both men are 30-plus years younger than Pelosi and lean farther to the left on the political spectrum.
I really don't think the divide and the generational change that's happening is about left versus center. I really think it's a difference of status quo versus change, right? Are we going to have a new party of leaders who know how to fight to stop this coup and use every tool at their disposal to stop Trump right now? And will we have an actual vision to create an economy that works for people?
You know, I'm proud to be running to represent San Francisco in Congress, and it would be just an incredible honor to take the work we've done around housing, healthcare, clean energy, civil rights to Washington.
Caroline Heldman, a professor of politics at Occidental College, says whoever wins Pelosi's seat will have the eyes of not only the Bay Area, but the entire country on them.
Given the fact that Nancy Pelosi is arguably the most powerful woman in U.S. political history, anyone who is taking her seat is going to get a lot of focus, at least during their first term in the House.
Caroline expects there may be even more candidates that enter the race for Pelosi's seat, but no matter who wins next November, she expects they will have much more liberal views than the former speaker. It's something Caroline says is a sign of the times, but one that doesn't take away from Pelosi's legacy.
I'm not sure she could get elected today, given her centrist position and the divisiveness in the country, but her leadership was so important in maintaining a balance of power between the legislative branch and the executive branch, and that balance does not exist today.
Now, a lot was made last month when Scott Wiener initially announced he would be running for this seat because so many people had thought that he said that he would wait until Nancy Pelosi announced her retirement. So I asked Juliet Scott today if he learned today with the public when that video came out that Nancy was retiring, or if maybe she had told him earlier. He told me he didn't want to share that conversation.
That's interesting insight. I like that. Thank you so much. Also, she was kind of hinting about 24 hours prior, but we all didn't know. But thank you, Kelsi. Good insight there. For much more on Pelosi's impact here in the Bay Area and in U.S. politics, you can follow us on the air, on our website, cbsnews.com, and on the free CBS News app.